The enlightenment of our hearts. I want everyone to think about what that might mean for them. What does it mean to each and every one of us to stand and witness each other in our glory, right? This is what most are thinking it is. I am visiting those realms of love for all of us. Even in my moments of pain and sorrow, I have moments of pain and sorrow just as many others do. But I'm not witnessing it like others do. Others witness their pain from a place of love of it, whereas I will say, I honor it. You see, that's the difference between who we are and how we are when we come into the vision of, I've transferred my vision over to my highest being. That's my highest self in this moment, aligning with those who also have those soul visions on the line. Now, I want you, as soul vision, to greet yourself each and every day with a big hug to yourself. That's what it often takes for us to align with the vision of I love who I am. And when we finally reach those moments of sorrow, we often can let go of the attachment to it in our hearts, knowing it is just a mindset we often create, hoping to fulfill some obligation to another often. I've failed in my duties to another. Or I'm here to relax, unwind, and see what it is I can glean from this woman's wisdom. I want you to understand I have been embodied by my own vision of love. So when I do indeed cherish those moments of wisdom, I often come from a place of deceit as well. And I want to align you with those who understand what this means. In my infinite wisdom, I am what I am. When I align with the vision of I am always who I think I am, that's not who I am. I am playing the role of Brenda, is what she's saying when she's here. I am telling people they are loving to me when on a soul level, some are saying, oh no, what does that mean? I gave them my all. And I cannot give them what they are wanting from me as a soul. This is her predicament of late. I am obligated to love somebody who doesn't love me back on a soul level, right? That's not how it works. What happens is in our mind, we can create these divisions of what we are. I'm the most loving person in the world. I would definitely not say that from a place of love. I have had my moments of deceit in my world. Am I just going out and telling people everything that comes to my mind? Or am I holding back the fear and sorrow of being authentic? And what does that mean? This is where people start to realize that that idea that I am not being forthcoming to everyone that crosses my path based on where I am in my mind. My heart knows better. My mind is my biggest weapon with some people that I know who still struggle in the idea of who I am as soul. Do you understand the distinct understanding we're coming to? How many are so blatantly truthful with their visions that they stamp out those friendships or those relationships as if they were meant to be anything other than loving, caring individuals? I had to take myself to a place of I am no longer being honest with you as a person on this realm in order to understand that I know that those visions of honesty are often the hardest to work with. How many people understand I realize it's my issue to rise out of whatever pain or sorrow is being caused in my mind? Now you understand what I'm talking about. I am not there to deceive the general public. I will let you know when I have my own moments of victimhood in my heart. It's in my mind. My heart is strong and pure. That's where most of us are. To be honest, all of us are there in our hearts. Our minds are our weapons of deceit, or it's like discoloration of our soul's vision. Many are saying, I see the beauty of who you are, whether or not you are truthful in your being or not. Do you understand the nature of open communication on a soul level? You can go through those visions of, I have to be honest with my family. I am no longer caretaking them in the ways in which they want me to. How many understand that idea of I'm dealing with obligations from a place of conditioning as I was as a child? I was expected to care for others, no matter what the sacrifice. I took care of myself first and foremost. And I moved away from the family tree in order to preserve that strength and love in my heart. I didn't want to build relationships from a place of obligation, right? That nature of we are here to serve all. How many people assume that we are required to be a certain way in order to please those around us so we don't, it's like trample on the vision of love. My family loves me if I do what they want. I'm always loved and adored by my family. But yet I created a dynamic of obligation because I wasn't honest in my own way with who I thought I was. I thought I could handle everyone's heart. How many of you are burning out on this idea of I've got to caretake everybody in my mind? And when you do that vision, it can be very destructive to who you are. Because if you've got something to say or to do or to be, you need to let that out. That's what the message of enlightenment of our hearts is you're always of love. Whether or not you're angry or sad or anxious or depressed or exuberant in your joy or not. Okay, so many people are riding that vision of I'm just going to unwind everything in my mind, and then I go through life and I find out that what? Very few people can honor that vision because we have to discern who we want to be with in this world. Are you aware of who you are? You see, in my world, my soul knows me and loves me, adores me, and caretakes my heart no matter where I'm at. And that's why I get my future handed to me every day in certain little ways, letting me know this is the path that I'm walking on. My soul is on board, walking with me. That's that nature of footsteps in the sand. Okay, you're walking with your own version of who you are from whatever plane of development you want to, rise in. Okay, now, when I look to my family tree and I see the victims in others, and the compassion has to be there, correct? Versus the celebration in their pain. This is where I had to hear from some souls about what that was. There are plenty of us who have those internal conflicts of, I'm glad they're feeling their pain. They need to feel the pain in order to rise up out of it. This is the bargaining that many are not caring for because they think, ooh, I thought I was supposed to feel good about everything and everybody. No, you have to be realistic when you go to the vision of I'm going to be a guide, that I'm not going to celebrate their pain, but I'm going to show them where they are in their hearts. Our paths are coming to an end on some level for certain people. And in order to do that vision, some people will stay in those destructive relationships too long. This is why some of our paths have to come to an end. I'm not here to be your bully. I don't go out and bully others, but I definitely take it out on myself sometimes when I don't do what I want to do. How many of us bully ourselves for not standing up and taking a stand, perhaps? These are people who are saying everyone has to do what I do, otherwise there's something wrong with them. Absolutely not. There's no dictator in this world that's ever going to tell a soul that they have to be anything other than who they are in their moment. And that's what people don't like. They don't like the idea that this idea of societal bullies, right? Souls will say they are not. They have got bullyish behavior. They will not call them any names. But this is what people are saying. We're aligning with those ideas that we have to be something other than who we are in each and every moment. That's why that idea that I rise and fall with the waves of love and vibration, right? And frequency. I'm not always just riding the ecstatic state of awareness, even though I know how to do that. Nor am I chasing the happy. I miss some of those wisdom words. But in essence, what I'm telling you is to enlighten ourselves to the nature of who we are, we get to be free and clear of any guilt and blame and shame from those on the other side of the veil. They honor those visions for us, even though some may ride in those frequency bands that says that there are still issues to be cleared out. And that's what happens when you cross over into that vision of love of the afterlife. And many don't realize, depending on where you are, you may hit some of those rough spots. I've hit some of the rough spots. And that's what I'm here to tell you. This is why when we say, it's not about planting seeds of fear for everybody, as so many have done, not realizing that's their journey through the unknown. That's their journey. It's not ours. We don't have to keep creating rough spots for ourselves. We can remember that our hearts are clear from the pain and torture of those of the past, because that's where their visions found themselves. In those pain points of soul. And then we say, oh yes, I remember. I'm in the here and the now. Where am I really in my surroundings? And many of us will indeed still consider ourselves in victim mindset in various ways, depending on where we are, or that lack of love that we might be feeling for ourselves or for others. Do not begrudge yourself that vision. You don't have to sit there and romance every other soul out there who thinks that they have what you need. We determine on a soul level what we are creating. We get to decide who we want to create with. And when you hook up with your own soul's vision of love, you don't turn back. And you look very carefully at people and you say, who do I really truly align with? Are you my friend? Are you my neighbor? Are you my loved one? Are you an acquaintance? Are you a stranger? I know you because I see you. That's it. It doesn't mean we have to plant the seeds that they are somehow all that and more wherever they are, correct? They are from their soul's perspective. But that doesn't mean that we have to sit there and caretake everyone as if they were ourselves. That's the nature, is where many are finding themselves in this vision of, I'm stuck where I'm at. I can't move forward because someone's telling me that if I don't have the most loving feelings, 24/7, that there's something wrong. We have to make those choices that sometimes caretake our own hearts, right? Our hearts are always caretaken. What we don't do is caretake our minds. And that's why the enlightenment of our hearts is that freeing of the energy that we are always there no matter what. It's our minds that we're working with most often. When we work with the vision of my soul, that's when you start to get those words of wisdom brought to you that will help you realize, I can break free from the traditional trappings of soul that many have planted. I'm in the tradition of soul vision. That means that I must align with somebody who also agrees with me, correct? Not even close. I love you and I set you free is where many are. Because don't you see, this is the nature of creating those divisive groups of people that are highlighting to us who we think we need to be or who we need to rise out of. Some people want to create from a place of I feel really good. Others feel really good feeling bad. Very few people don't know what that means. A lot of people are like, I don't want to feel good in this feeling, whether it's a mental state, a physical state, or a being state. We haven't come to that nature of accepting who we are is usually where we are in our vibration. I am who I am. I love who I am, whether or not I'm feeling bad or not. That's my soul. I already know that vision. How many people can say that? I know this too shall pass. Now, some people are very much in the idea of I've got some kind of condition or whatnot in my world that is not allowing me to break free from certain, it's like certain visions of what a victim is versus the nature of aligning with those who realize in the reality that we're not just our own lone island. So yes, indeed, others are creating with us. And that's when your soul vision can come through and say, what am I creating with this person? And how do I get that? How do I get free of that idea that I have to feel good 24/7 in order to be of the high? That's where a lot of people are. And so we put on these false personas that say, oh yes, everything is just fine, when inside we know it's not. Okay? And that's the nature of creating from relationships that allow us to learn to love everybody, right? We don't have to say that. We love everybody on a soul level. We don't like everybody, though, from this plane. We don't have to like everybody in order to be of love. And Brenda has had certain relationships that she cares so much for, but she has to say, I have to love you from afar because we're not creating what I want. I can see my part in that relationship as destructive for the other, just as much as their vision is destructive for me. That's the honesty of who I am. Because I know in certain instances, if you are affecting who I am in a certain way, and I am going to state my case, and I know we are going to be going like this, we're passing through each other for the most part. Many people want to know, how do you do that vision and do it with honor and dignity? That's my guidance for you. Anyone who has that idea of I need to disconnect from someone on this plane, there's a gentleness in letting go of people. Or there is that confrontation that you can have. Many people have those confrontations with people. Oh my gosh. And I have confrontations with my own children that can sometimes be very difficult for me because it wears me down, because I'm trying to allow them the freedom to express themselves, but still honor who I am as a soul, as a mother, right? We're trying to work out our differences. We're trying to come to those ideas of collaboration with others. We're trying to make sure that you guys honor yourselves wherever you are. You don't have to put on the pretty picture every time you come on the screen, right? That's the nature of who I am. I honor you where you are, but I also know how to vibrate in and out of victimhood in my mind, right? It's a temporary state for me. When I go into this idea of I want to feel bad about who I am, I might focus on certain aspects of what I want to be. But that can be turned around very, very fast in the nature of I'm trying to improve certain aspects of who I am. And that doesn't mean I'm thinking something is bad about me. It's not a bad thing. How many of us want to improve on certain aspects or on certain relationships? Certain relationships can be enhanced through the idea of we're both victims. okay? Other relationships thrive on it with each other, thrive in the victimhood. That's where I don't go that way. I can find my moments of it with certain people, and then I have to realize I have a choice on how I handle my relationships. I have a choice on how I deal with my friends. I have a choice on how I handle my family. Now, when it comes to the public at large, that's where I say, I honor you where you are. I may not agree with the vision. And others will say, oh, well, that's the idea I want with. I want that one that says that I can agree with everyone's situation for who they are. When you come to me, you will soon find out the difference. You can keep creating from that place of everything is fine and all of that. You may be denying aspects of who you are on a soul level that you were meant to come here to be. That's the nature of where some of those high messages can hold you back from being who you really are. Ask me how I know. I've taken on the burdens of friendships from those of others who thought that I should be more like them. And when I claim to them, I'm not like you, I know who I am, and people then project onto me who they think I need to be, that gets a little tiring. And that's why for me, for all of you who are watching, I would say, don't assume that the guidance you have ever received from a book that is not directly in contact with your soul is the right one for you. And I'm not trying to sell you anything at this point. To be honest, I do soul sessions, but it's because I've gone through that vision myself. I'm meant to be with certain souls. I'm meant to be with certain souls who come into my life. And my soul leads me down the path of reuniting with those souls. That's how strong your soul is. When you bring your soul on board and when you hear from your soul, you will get the direct guidance. This is where people are starting to realize their strengths of going in and finding out what's really inside of them versus what others are telling them they need to be. And if you feel like you're the character of life that's supposed to be free and happy and discover the joy and illumination of who we are, that's where I'm aiming to go. Because in essence, I know that as a child. I know what that feels like, and I know it's a better place to create from. Rather than I'm going to go create havoc in other people's minds, because then that gets kind of brought back to me. And that doesn't feel so good, and I create some stuff like that. That's the nature of when you're working with souls. Okay, if I was just dealing with people on this plane, that would be a snap. I've done it all my life. I know how to work that magic. Once you go to soul and you start taking those steps into the love of all, those can be the doozies for many. How many want to know what that feels like? There are people that just rise and, I say good for you. You want to be that person, right? These are a lot of the gurus and whatnot. And I'm not discounting their wisdom at all, especially the idea of let's stop, creating from this place of I'm a victim of who I am in this moment, when in essence, I'm the creator of my destiny. I walk with my soul. My soul leads me to various paths of wonder. I've been led to some interesting relationships, let me tell you. And I'm like, what is this one? And these are those souls that I often bring through on those videos of my past that were very much not in alignment with who I am in my mind, but on a soul level I create with them, right? Some of them I don't even know personally, but there is an alignment of who is caretaking our hearts and what we need to learn. That's when you start to know you're tapped in, is when you can align with those souls that you don't agree with here, but you can understand why your soul would be bringing them through. They're here to enlighten us to who we are from various levels of love. Now, when I say that, that's what makes people a little concerned. Would I have to hear from those souls that I don't even like? Are you creating with them? See, this is the nature of who are we creating with. And it doesn't mean you have to like them, but it can come to that place of let me just let them be. And if they are indeed affecting me in my mind, is it truly affecting me, or is it just a difference of opinion? That's the first and foremost question you need to ask yourself. Are they directly affecting me, or is it just a difference of opinion? Most people now know that there are those ideas of society. That's why she brings through the society issues, because they do indeed affect all of us. But in essence, on a personal level, when you take it to the personal level of, I'm going to aim my arrows of love towards others, right? Do you understand the difference between I'm loving who I am in this moment versus I'm loving someone else for who they are in theirs? That's the nature of what people go to when they go to the soul level. I understand who they are. I love that they're showing me more about who I am from another plane of understanding. That's one of those high notes that Brenda hits, because she sees it very often. And it gets handed to her in that way, so she can back away from the idea of they are causing me some kind of discomfort in my mind, right? Not even close. I already know that. I already understand it. And I can go, yeah, if I was them, I'd be acting that way or doing that or whatnot too. Often it's a value system that gets held up as the way to be. Others are very much of their idea of morality. Brenda's of ethics. I rise in ethics. She doesn't belittle morality. She just says we are understanding the ideas of all of those are very subjective. But for those of us who have been enlightened by the nature of many different ways of being in systems of enlightenment, it is not of anything other of what's truly about integrity of who we are in this moment. If you follow those ethics, beautiful. If you're of morality, beautiful. We're all of all. So we don't diminish it. We're just saying what serves me in this moment. If you're of morality and that is your guidance system, by all means, keep highlighting that vision and aim for the stars. I utilized astrology for years to help me get in alignment with who I thought I was at one moment. That's all that is. When I utilize a system that is there for all of us to imbibe upon or disregard or whatnot, I'm being honest with you about how many people assume that my systems must have been of certain religious institutions. I understand it. I know those that were inspired by that. I've utilized systems that were inspired by the Kabbalah. I've utilized systems that were inspired by many religious texts, but not in the essence of dictation or of here, you need to be this. It was more like taking aspects of Eastern philosophy as well. The I Ching, psychology, shadow work. I've done a lot. Personality test. These are all those highlighted visions, and I've integrated a lot of it to see what is it that I expanded my soul to. So many tools of friendship within those visions. Do you know how many people disregard other people just based on the fact that they're utilizing a different system than them? That one's not as good. How do you know that? It could be your approach to the work that you're doing. It could be the wise ones that you're looking to bring forth the vision for you. How many people know that there are so many interpretations of what love is? So how do you know what version of love is best for you? Can you imagine anyone else telling you, other than your own heart and soul, what's best for you? That's the nature of what love of all is. We honor the vision that you all have your own visions of love to unite with from various realms of love and understanding. So I want you all to think about your hearts, and when you feel that warmth there, and you feel it, and you go, I know this is right for me. I know this is right for me. This will get you somewhere. We most often create with this, but you'll have it in your heart. You'll know, I love this. I love when I vibrate in this. I love when I feel good in my heart. Even if it goes against someone else's system of enlightenment, go with your gut, right? Our gut is another tool of enlightenment that I'll be talking about. That's that nature of our intuition. And how many people realize that they're using programs from the past often to help them decide where to go. It could be that the systems in your mind are not actually creating the best path for you. And that's why many will keep searching for various paths to explore. You're always loved and guided by your soul no matter what. This is not to say don't keep trying. You find whatever joy you want. If it's joyful for you, hold on to it. If it's beautiful for you, hold on to it. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, it could be it's just not ready for you yet. It could be you aren't ready for that yet. But it doesn't mean that you can't come back to it, to see it for what it is. A beautiful tool of friendship. Many will utilize these systems of enlightenment to highlight who they are. I am all of that and more. That's where my heart goes. I know where I'm at with my soul. But I do have those friends and family members from the other side of the veil, so to speak, that I sometimes create havoc with based on issues of who they were here, that I forget that they need to be let go from that kind of mindset. That's the tool of friendship I offer all of you. To realize that I'm not some spiritual guru who's going to tell you how to be. I'm here to enlighten you to who you think you are. That's where a lot of people go, right? We find out a whole lot more when we start going into those levels about what level actually feels really good for us. This is when you want to hit the love of your own heart first and foremost. And this doesn't mean you're not going to love people around you. You have to be very solid in who you are here before you start taking wisdom in from others as if you're supposed to be who they are. Anyone that says, I need you to be this, hasn't figured that out yet. Okay? You are always enlightened by your own vision. What is your vision telling you about you? What is your vision telling you about others around you? And that's when you can start to ask the questions of yourself. Is this the life I created? Yes, it is indeed, but you're not your own lone island. What are you creating and who you're creating with others? Okay? Not who you're creating with others. What are you creating with others? But who are you creating with? And what that means is we don't often have a choice, except that we often do. But for those who say, I don't have a choice, unless you're in a situation in which you are unable to escape, it could be that the moments of pain were in various seeds that were planted in your mind, and that is when your own soul will highlight those visions of what is holding you back from making the changes or the choices that would better serve who you are in your heart and your mind, because we do feel it in our mind. But most of the people that I deal with are very much always in their hearts, and they feel it and they know it. They know they're loved and adored by whatever highest vision they hold true for them. So with that, I want to say thank you for watching. And remember, stay curious, wise, and soulful. Have a great day.